Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome back to the NOFO Live podcast, where I, Sunitha, along with my co-host Tracy, we hop on every Friday and talk about all things North Fork. Technically, it isn't even winter on the North Fork yet, but it feels cold, and today especially is rainy and dreary. But I have to give a shout out to yesterday. It was such a beautiful, stunning day. I think the temperatures even reached 50, and for just a short second, I forgot how cold and windy, really windy it has been. And the reason the weather matters more to me today is because there is a really, really beautiful event called the Greenport Holiday Stroll that is happening tonight. So, yesterday would have been a spectacular day for it. I'm really hoping that the weather forecast is right and that by 2 o'clock, all of this rain is gone. The stroll, we had Kara on from the last Friday about the stroll, is about 45 or so local businesses in Greenport participating. A lot of them have some specials and discounts, and it's just so festive. So it is the perfect day, or perfect evening, I should say, to take your family out and have a little bit of a holiday hallmark moment. I believe the street in Greenport will be closed down. A portion of Front Street will be closed down with some propane heaters in the street, with some lounges that you can hang out at. So it looks like it's designed to be a really beautiful event. Hoping that the weather does cooperate and we can all enjoy that. To our guest, and hopefully she'll join us soon. Our guest today is a store that has been in Greenport. Good morning, Michael. How are you?
Good morning. I'm
Are
well,
you
thank
all
you.
dressed and festive for the stroll?
I am ready. I'm ready for the stroll. I'm wearing the color for the holiday.
Oh, I see. You're ready for the holidays and the stroll.
That's right.
It is a little early in the morning to be ready, but good for you. I don't feel as ready today.
It'll be a long day today. But
Yesterday
I'm
when I
really
woke up,
looking forward to the stroll. The stroll's going to be amazing.
it is going to be amazing. But I woke up yesterday and the sky, and I don't know, I guess it's been so gray and windy so many days. And I was thinking, oh my God, this looks like the perfect day. And then I woke up today and it was such a dramatic change. And I was like, ugh.
Not to worry. This weather's blowing away.
Okay, so I was just jumping right into the fact that you have had the store. So let's jump in. Introduce everybody who you are and tell us a little about your original Ray Design store.
So I'm Michael Aron of Michael Aron Fine Art, which is the sign that hangs out in front of my shop, which is in the center of Greenport, across from the old arcade. If people have lived here their whole lives, they probably shopped at the arcade and furnished their house and, did everything at the arcade. And now it's a big empty shop on the middle of our street.
Well,
But I look out
I don't
on
know
it
if it's
all day.
empty because it looks like there's things in the window, but I guess it's been closed for as long as I can remember.
That's right. But I'm part of the new wave of Greenport in a way. It's,
So what year
important.
did you open your shop?
I signed a lease in 2017,
Okay.
so I'm entering my 9th year of being in the retail business here in Greenport. The first couple of years I was in the space that Craft Hair has on Carpenter Street near Little Creek. But that space became too small relatively quickly, and I rented this spot, prime real estate in Greenport.
I
And
remember the store that used to be there before. I think it was so large. When you took over the space, I think they divided the store into two,
That's
correct?
correct. And you interviewed Elise from Salton Sea recently, and
Yes,
she
she's
has
your
the other
neighbor.
half of the store. So we came up together in the retail biz here. So she's terrific.
So what was your original inspiration? What was your goal when you started the store on Carpenter
It's
Street and here?
It's very simple. I was a graphic designer for my entire career in New York City, and when I retired, I decided, my weekend home would become more of a full-time residence. And, well, gee, you need something to do. This is a common challenge for a lot of people that are
A
trying to
challenge or
figure it out.
opportunity? Or
Well, there it
opportunity,
is.
because, and you do meet a lot of like-minded people on the North Fork that are sort
Oh
of
my,
contemplating their new chapter and what to do.
absolutely. It's a wonderful lifestyle to live here, to be near the beach, and and the community is terrific. So I said, all right, let me see what I can do. So I called a friend who was just starting out as a real estate broker, Julia Robbins, and I said to her, listen, if the world's smallest space were to ever open and become available, I might consider renting it. And I think 6 months went by, maybe 9 months went by, and she's friends with Patty, who runs the shop on the corner, 𝗙𝗶𝗲𝗲 Leather,
I see.
and that little space became available, and I was on vacation, I was traveling, and good old Julia Robbins, man, she called me up and she said, "I think I have it. I think I have it." I said, "I'll rent it, sight unseen." And that's how it
An
all started.
opportunity knocks, I guess, but you were also ready. Good morning,
I was
Tracy.
prepared. Yes. Hi, Tracy.
Hi.
I really enjoyed the challenge of figuring out what to do with the space. So I had
Oh,
the
so wait.
space.
So you had some loose concept, but the space
No.
became available even before you knew what you were going to do?
Yeah, I just took the space.
Wow.
And I used it as a studio for the first 6 months, because I'm a graphic designer slash artist, so I needed a place, it's a good place to go to get out of the house and to be contemplating what my next move would be.
Wow.
And
Talk about being brave and getting paying rent on a retail space
yes,
without completely having figured out what the plan is. Wow.
I think that defines me as a human. I've always just jumped into those kinds of situations without knowing how it was all going to work out, but having the confidence to just sort of make it happen,
Yeah,
you
you're
Wow.
know?
like one of those people in the movies that takes the step off the ledge knowing that there is actually a invisible bridge there.
Oh,
100%.
I see Harrison Ford. I see it.
Yes, yes.
And it's, not everyone can pull it off, but I don't know, I got some kind of really deep sense of confidence as a young person, and I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always had my own business. I've always been very driven to do the things that make sense for me. And so
You're speaking for Tracy and so many others.
it's a hard thing to do. I mean, there's setbacks. Everyone has setbacks. I mean, I lived through the dot-com bust. My business was totally destroyed by that. And my the second bust, the financial crisis, that wiped me off the map a second time. So, I was working in a field that was kind of reliant on big business in New York City to be, sort of steady and even keel. And it just was a little bit of a roller coaster. So I decided, if I'm just going to do it by myself, what can I do that can support me? And Greenport rose to my aid, and everyone, I don't know, it was a really warm welcome. And I decided to start selling glass and pottery, which was sort of a thing that I've been collecting for a long time. And uh, the shop was entirely glass and pottery in the beginning. Um, when I say glass and pottery, I'm talking about very high-end Murano glass, uh, European, German, Israeli pottery, things that you can't buy in a store. None of the things I've
Okay.
ever sold in the store, um, in my store, are available anywhere else. And the
How did you
reason for
go
that,
about collecting those?
well, I want to back up for a second. The reason I chose to do that was Patty DiCarlo, the woman that owns uh, the shop, 𝗙𝗶𝗲𝗲 Leather, who's retiring this month. She said to me, if you're going to be successful in Greenport, you have to sell things that no one else sells. it was just the most important piece of advice I could ever have received, because I didn't know what I was going to do. You know, I could have sold jewelry and then I would be competing with every other jewelry store in town. So I really give Patty a little credit for giving me the success that I have. So I
And
named
also
the
having an
store.
established store next to you, there's so much you can absorb and learn from because you were
Yeah,
on the street next door. I mean, on the store next door.
yeah, she was a great landlord. But anyhow, I decided that so the business was called Ray in the beginning because it had nothing to do with me. I was selling, you know, vintage pottery and glass. So I wanted a short, cute name that would, you know, look good on the sign and relates to like a sun ray or a ray of hope and something positive. In addition, my uncle Ray helped me get my very first job. So
Oh, it's a little tip of the hat to him.
correct.
So
Um,
how did you transform from just a glass and pottery to then mix of art? Because you have
yeah.
artists in your background in your family as well.
That's correct. I have always been a creative in many different ways. And uh, when I realized that art was a category that was underrepresented in Greenport, I'm not talking about local art, like, you know, Kara's business with NOFO Art Collective and the other galleries in town all do a terrific job. But they're selling primarily local artists and contemporary art. And my taste gravitates toward sort of obscure 1950s abstracts and things from estate sales and quirky photographs by strange unknown people. Nothing that fits the typical category of a, you know, tourist destination like Greenport. So I started hanging some of my favorite art on the wall to see if it would sell, and it sold out. So I sold all the pottery and glass that I had collected. So I was now without any inventory and figuring out, oh, I got to make a business now. And so I started accumulating. I buy things at auction. I go to Brimfield in Massachusetts. I buy everything I can find that's interesting. And so I'm using my own money to fund this business. And if people don't like my taste, I take it home. You know, I own it all. So it's different than a gallery. An art gallery business is typically consignment. You know, the artist is represented, the show hangs for 6 weeks. The owner of the gallery splits the, you know, the proceeds with the artist to a ratio determined by their personal needs and wants. I don't do that. I buy everything and I sell it at a markup. And if I do well, I do well. Sometimes I have to take a hit. You know, I'll sell something for what I paid for it if it doesn't move.
Do you ever get people come in, say, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z, and then you go out and try to find it for them over the next year?
I have done that for only the very top clients of mine, the ones that are repeat customers that have a particular need. I'm good at sourcing things, but it's incredibly hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
So I would let down almost everybody if I said yes to those requests all the time. What I
Yeah.
do now, which is akin to what you just asked, is commissions. So people walk in and they see a painting and they say, "Oh, I love that painting, but if the sky was only blue instead of yellow, I'd buy it." And I'm like, "I'll make you one with a blue sky. I don't care."
Okay,
Cool.
so I want to I want to talk about the evolution from how you got from Ray to Michael.
Yes. Well, it took a number of years to get there, of
Well,
course.
8 years to be exact.
Precisely. I'm a slow learner, I suppose. That's really the truth. Um, I have to give credit to another person in my orbit who um, just, I don't know how to explain it, but his name is Doug Grader, and he has a shop in Park Slope, and it sells all kinds of things. It's a little bit of a emporium, but the main focus is clothing. But he comes from a family of retailers, and he knows the business really, really well. And I don't. I mean, yes, my family, there was some retail in the background, but I personally had no experience with retail at all. I've never worked in a store. I don't understand the rules of engagement. I didn't understand anything about retail at all. I just was using my seat of the pants, do the best you can, work hard.
Kind of like our podcast.
Doug sat down.
Show up when you feel like it.
Yeah, well, he walked in and we hit it off immediately. He's, Brooklyn guy, and I used to have a house in Brooklyn. And he sat down here and he started just asking me questions like this question, that question. It just, he was seeing it through a professional, he just was curious, and, he sort of has he just was a third party outsider view on this thing. And so the one single most important question, he started very light. He started saying, gee, your lighting. Oh, wouldn't it be nice if you had directed the lighting onto the art instead of off on the side of the wall? I'm like, oh yeah, I just haven't had time to get on a ladder and change the lights. And he says, I'll help you. And before you know it, he transformed my business by giving me advice. He said the simplest thing he said was, he looked at the glass and pottery. I had 25 shelves filled with glass and pottery down the middle of the store. And he said, how much of your profit on your spreadsheet year over year is art versus glass and pottery? And I said, geez, I don't know. He said, okay, if you sold everything in the store down the middle, would it equal how the art sells? And I started doing a mental calculation, and I realized that if I sold all of my glass and pottery in a single day, it's still less than I get for one painting. So that was the answer.
Why is it the focus of the store when you walk in?
Because I love it, and it's pretty, and it looks cool. And everyone gets to have a housewarming present, and an anniversary present, and a birthday present that's quirky and weird and fun and cool. But I wasn't making any money doing it. Mm-hmm. Or I was, but I wasn't making as much as I could have. So he said, why don't you just get rid of it? So now I have 2 shelves. I sold the shelves. Actually, I gave them to a friend. So,
well, I think, there's a phrase that says when the student is ready, the teacher appears, right? So maybe this person that you mentioned showed up in your life exactly at the right time when you were already evolving towards stepping into your own as an artist, right? So can you talk a little bit about that journey? Because I know there are so many creatives and so many people, not necessarily just creatives, that are afraid to sort of stand up for what their talents are, and it's scary to put it out to the world.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Doug asked me, about that exact thing, and the first thing I noticed was that I'd never signed any of my paintings. I was shy.
So you were already creating art by then.
I started
to include in your store.
Yeah, right? I did my first painting in like 2019 or 2020. It was a little 8x10 painting, and it sold like within 45 minutes. I put it on the wall and it's gone. And so I realized, oh, I know how to paint. I didn't realize I knew how to paint.
What was it out of curiosity? What was it?
It was a little abstract.
Okay.
In a vintage frame. So it went well with the glass and pottery on the shelf, Yeah. Oh, what a journey. You're right.
Well, over the years, I've seen you sell a lot of artists on your wall, and then you occasionally have a piece from you. But like you said, you never signed anything. So you never took ownership for this is me.
That's correct. It took me, putting it out there saying that you're an artist, that's a big statement.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't have a track record. I had never studied painting. I didn't have any of the things that go into what make an artist. Although I did go to art school and I did graphic design for, my whole career. So I was making art every day, but I never made a painting on a canvas framed for sale. So that was new to me. So I had to become accustomed to it. And now I'm doing, luckily a guy named John came in with his wife Kim and said, we have a need for a 12-foot painting in our house in Orient. And I said, okay, I'll do it. So now I'm a painter all of a sudden. And I painted the painting and they loved it and they're good clients. And so now I'm doing that and I started signing them. And
So
now,
how much now of your retail space is your art versus things you're collecting? How do you split that up
that's
now?
a very good question. I have one wall, the wall behind me, it has about 40 of my pieces on it. The rest of the gallery there's another 100 pieces in the gallery that aren't mine. And the glass and pottery sits to my left. There's about 40 pieces.
Two shelves out of 20.
Yeah. But the art, I mean, I have world-class artists on the wall, collected by me over time. I have cute little cartoon drawings that my dad did. I have New Yorker covers. I have photographs by Dennis Chalkin, who's a local artist. I have 𝗙𝗶 𝗵𝗵𝗲. She's a photographer who I know here in Greenport. But I also have a Mapplethorpe, and I have things that are museum quality art. And the paintings, I have a lot of obscure paintings, but I also have posters, the Endless Summer poster. I have Snoopy on a surfboard. I make my own posters. It's very eclectic. And the prices are all over the place. I sell little photos, little frame postcards for $30, great little stocking stuffers sort of price point. And, I've sold a tapestry for $65,000. So
It's
it wide
runs the
range.
gamut.
Yeah.
You can speak to all different type of customers.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I really pay attention to what people, when they walk in, I really listen. And I think that helps me refine the collection because I'm responding almost immediately to their needs.
And apologies if I missed this in the beginning, but what brought you to Greenport? What's your tie to the North
Oh,
Fork?
none. I have a friend from New York who let me rent her house one summer and for a week, and I just sort of got the vibe, and I said, "Oh, I like this," because I used to rent in Amagansett, and that's sort of not my scene. It's a little too upscale, and the traffic. So
Yeah.
there's less traffic and more conducive and more friendly village. So I bought a house, and I bought the house in 22 years ago.
Okay.
So I've always had a summer house here, but I never really, engaged with the community. I wasn't in the public. Now I stand in the window and I paint, and anyone who walks down Front Street sees me standing there struggling, deciding what color to put on the canvas.
Well,
That is so
I'm lucky
cool.
enough that I've seen the evolution of Ray design from when it was Ray to now. The sign has also changed outside to Michael. And I'm glad you brought up the painting in the front because when you were a retail store, right, your
Yeah,
checkout counter was all the way in the back. So unless
right.
someone bought something and walked all the way to the back to talk to you, that was the interaction. But my favorite change that you have made, besides putting your name on the wall, is the fact that you moved your checkout counter to the front, which is
Yeah,
really where you paint all these pieces. So when someone walks in, you're
yeah,
always working on something or
yeah.
contemplating or looking at it or processing. And I love that as soon as I walk into the store.
My favorite part, sorry, my favorite part is the kids. Parents often come in with their children, and children have no filter, and they just walk right up to me and they start asking me questions about the painting, and before you know it, they're sitting on the floor getting all excited.
That's great. Oh,
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
Well, let's kick off our NOFO Live 5. Michael.
Yes.
If you were going to take us out to a meal, lunch, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, where
Yeah.
would you choose to take us?
Oh, Lord. Uh, I mean, I'm a big fan of Little Creek mainly because they're my neighbors. They were, out my back door is right there, Little Creek. So, now they've moved over to Carpenter. I still feel like they're in the neighborhood. So I have to go with Little Creek. And they're doing such an amazing job.
Yeah, they are.
Now, you paint a lot of North Fork landscapes. I'm saying North Fork,
Yeah,
but you paint a lot of horizons and landscapes.
that's
Do
right.
you catch a sunrise or sunset, or
Ah,
where do you find yourself also gravitating
oh,
in
I just
paintings
look at
to?
your photos actually.
Oh, you're too
No,
kind.
I'm a workaholic, so when I go home, I usually stop by Fifth Street Beach because it's right adjacent to where I live, and the sun sets over the edge there, and it's really pretty.
Yes, yeah, and Greenport has some really cute spots where you can catch a sunrise as well. And the reason I say that is because you can catch it on the horizon. Like South Hole, there's no real water without land to catch a sunrise, but Greenport is lucky in that you catch a beautiful
Yeah.
sunset and a sunrise, you know?
Yeah, we have, Shelter Island frames a lot of the views around here. And when I look east, I see Greenport toward Orient. It's really magnificent to have some place to look, to have a
Yeah.
horizon.
Yeah.
Well, and as we can see behind you, you do paint a lot of
I do.
daytime horizons, nighttime horizons. I mean, the colors you use are just stunning or
Thank you.
spectacular. I don't know what the word is, but they definitely call my name.
Well,
Um, brewery, mocktail, cocktail, vineyard. What do
oh,
you enjoy, and where would we find you?
you know, Alpina's bar is a little bit of a hidden secret. They have really unusual Amaros and rare Swiss wines and Italian wines. It's highly
Wow.
curated, what they have behind the bar. If you ask, you'll get some surprises.
That's very interesting. We haven't gotten that one before, so we'll have
Yeah,
to
Yeah,
give
add
it a
that to
try.
our list.
yeah.
So, what about farm stands? Where do you generally shop and what do you like to get there?
Um, my world is quite small, so if it's quick driving, I'm down KK, Deep Route, and Country View. They're all like within a short drive from my house, and of course, I'm going to the seafood place to get fish. So I've got that little triangle. I hit
You can
them
get
all.
your whole meal in
I
that.
pretty much try, yeah, and I'm buying the tomatoes, of course, the corn, and well,
Well, you're in the perfect spot on Front Street because in summer the Greenport Farmers Market, which
That's
to me is like a hangout destination on Friday afternoons, is
yeah.
literally a few steps down from your store.
I'm hoping that they get permission from the village to move it to Saturday. They're petitioning for changing it from Friday to Saturday. It's sort of a new thing, and Paul, who heads that up, is doing a great job.
Yeah,
And I
that'd be
think for
cool.
the winter, at least temporarily, they are in that new Little Creek space.
Yeah,
I don't know if today is their last day, but I know they've been doing Fridays. It might be their last day. I'll look it up and post a flyer. But
yeah,
that's a great that's a great
yeah,
farmers market because they're bringing it to you. Like Golden Acres, which is all the way by Tracy, is sort of
yeah,
bringing the market to you in summer in Greenport.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, anything we can do to support the local businesses, the small farms and the small providers, they need all the help they can get.
Yep, definitely. Well, it's apologies for being late
Yeah,
again.
it's all good.
I have a toddler and she's
Yes.
homesick from school today. So,
Oh, well, I hope
yeah,
she feels
we
better.
we got to get better for Santa. So,
Yeah,
But thank you so much for joining us.
welcome.
And to wrap up the show, just tell us what you love about the North Fork community.
Uh, you know, I have to say, it's watching the kids grow up.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an interesting take that we haven't heard.
You know, I get these little kids in the store, and then they become adults.
Mm.
It's amazing.
I'm gonna have to bring Tilly by when she's feeling better.
Please. Yeah.
I will. She's quite the artiste, I will tell you. We were painting, and she will not use just a color out of the jar. She must mix and make her own colors.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
She's got a future.
She could be your apprentice someday.
Yeah, she'll probably be a computer scientist, but whatever.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Michael.
You're
And
welcome,
now
Sunita.
with your name change, I'm sure most people will call you by your correct name, because
We'll
I
see. I
too have made
still,
the mistake over the years of calling you Ray because
anyone who
everybody
calls
assumed
my
that was your
name,
name.
no, if anyone who waves and says hi, Ray, I answer hi. I don't really care. I made that mistake, and I'll live with it.
Well, like I said, now that you have put your name on the wall,
Yeah,
everybody knows your name, and
yeah.
I'm so grateful for you for coming on and sharing
Thank
your
you.
journey, because I think your evolution is so inspirational to others that are kind of trying to figure out A, what they
Yes.
want to do in their new chapter, and B, to just be comfortable in your own talent and put it out there.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you'll inspire others to follow.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you, everybody. Hopefully this weather will clean up by 2
Yeah,
o'clock, and we will see
guaranteed.
you
After
at the
the
Greenport
All right,
Stroll
everyone get out
from
there
5
and
to 8
stroll.
p.m.
5 to 8, exactly.
Thank
See
you.
you
See you
then.
guys next Friday. Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.